Hello. Guru sir, am I audible? Hello.
Yeah, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Sir, check that screen also, whether it is visible.
You make it full screen, sir. Okay, fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, sir. Fine. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome back to the of National Education Policy today's webinar. In the morning session, we had an introductory session from Principal Sir giving the policy 2020, and later on we had an overview of NEP 2020 with respect to the curriculum design, the pedagogy followed, and the requirements for making Indian education system to taking it to the global market. This session we'll be having a deliberation from Dr. Raviraj P, Professor, Department of CSE and IQAC Director. He'll be deliberating on the requirement of research environment, how to establish the research environment, and what are the initiatives taken in National Education Policy 2020 with respect to research environment, and what initiatives have to be taken to as a parameter with respect to NEP 2020. On behalf of IQAC and GSSSIETW Mysuru, I welcome Dr. Raviraj P, Professor, CSE Department and IQAC Director, to present the session on research environment and optimal learning environment for research and innovation opportunities. Raviraj sir, you can take over the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very good afternoon to all of you. It's my pleasure to be a part of this program as a speaker. First of all, I would like to thank our management, principal and our HOD for giving me the opportunity to take over this session. So particularly this session, I would like to brief about the introduction about the session, what we are going to discuss in this particular session. Means the main objective of this session is we are going to have a brief insights about the optimal learning environment for innovation and research opportunities. In National Education Policy 2020 has given a lot of salient significant improvement and facilities to increase the innovation and research. This is what we are going to discuss in this particular session. So I'm very happy to take over the session. Once again, I welcome you all the participants for this session. Meanwhile, if you have any doubts or any clarification, if you would like to arise, please ask me. At last, I'll try to clarify your doubts. Okay. So this is the overview of this contents and this about this session. So in this session, it's mainly focusing about the optimal learning environments. So the word optimal itself, we come to know efficient. That efficient learning and teaching is very, very important. So this National Education Policy 2020 is more emphasis on the efficient teaching and learning. That all the committee members, they've done a beautiful survey and statistical report regarding the teaching and learning. So in this report, in these policies, they've given a lot of openings and a lot of futures to increase the research and innovation. That is what we are going to see. So this is the overview of the content which I am going to present in this particular session. First, we are going to discuss about the optimal learning environments, followed by what are the current challenges is there to what are the current challenges is that what are the struggles are there to implement effective learning environments. Then followed by we are going to have a short discussion about innovative and responsive curriculum and pedagogy. Then internalization of our education, then motivated, energized and capable faculty, research and innovation. Finally, it is end up with the teacher education. Actually, these contents is taken from the chapter 12, 13, 14, 15 in this National Education Policy 2020. There are 484 pages. The summarized report we have 66 pages. In that, the chapter 12, 13, 14, 15 is focusing about this particular concept, optimal learning environment, research and innovation. Let us see the objective. The main objective of this particular National Education Policy, New Policy 2020 is they want to make that learning and teaching is a joyful way, at the same time with the help of the effective pedagogy. That is what the objective they have given here. So to make sure about joyful, rigorous and responsive curriculum, engaging and effective pedagogy. The committee suggested that if you want to improvise our teaching learning methodology, committee suggested that we want to focus on two important areas. One is curriculum perspective, another one is pedagogy perspective. That's what here they are given. The committee in this policy, they have insisted upon effective learning requires a comprehensive approach, because nowadays we are having the examination point of view, the students they are learning and they are scoring marks. So this trend should be changed. That is what the committee is insisting, that the assessment, the learning and the teaching pedagogy way should be in the comprehensive approach. That is what they want to do that. So if you want to make it as a comprehensive approach, the most important thing is first they are saying that to focus on curriculum. So curriculum, according to the latest trends, according to the latest trend, whatever research or whatever necessity is there, curriculum should be revised then and there. So all the higher education in focus on the pedagogy to be done. These both are very, very important for the optimal learning environments. So that with these two objectives, with this they have focused, they have drafted this policy for the optimal learning environments. So we are going to discuss one by one. What is that? Okay. First, they are saying that both in current regular and open distance learning mode. They have compared, the committee has taken a lot of survey all across our countries. They have taken a lot of statistics, interacted with so many academicians and industrialists, everything. Finally, they come to know that and justify that there is a lacking in terms of curriculum. That is what they are saying, that current challenges. First, we want to overcome the challenges. If we want to improvise the optimal learning environment, according to the National Education Policy is suggesting that first we want to revise the curriculum, because nowadays whatever the curriculum, most of the universities, most of the institutions, they are following the curriculum, even including the open distance learning mode. They are saying that the curriculum is remained rigid. It is narrow. We want to overcome. The second suggestion they put across is the lack of autonomy to design curriculum. That also impacted that particular optimal learning environment. So lack of autonomy, absolutely it is there, because nowadays only deemed universities and public universities, they are having the rights to revise the curriculum then and there immediately. But affiliated institution and so many things, we are struggling in terms of designing our own curriculum. So that is what they've insisted. This has to be rectified. This has to be overcome in the coming days to give autonomy to the faculty and the institution to design the curriculum. That is what this new education policy is suggesting. Morning also our principal sir and our HOD also, they have suggested in their slide also autonomy for the faculty. The education policy is insisting about the autonomy of faculty to design the curriculum. That's what. Then finally they are saying that student support system. Okay, so these three are very, very important to improvise the optimal learning environment. So according to the national education policy. First, for that, what they have come out with the solution means they have suggested to design one overall framework for higher education. That is what. This framework should support all the institution, consistency across institution and equivalence across program, including the open distance learning mode and the traditional class mode. That is what the suggestions given by the committee in this new education policy. This new education policy is particularly insisting that to give a common overall framework of the higher education, which should be avoided the consistency across institution. We have to ensure the consistency across institution and equivalence across the program. That is what. So for that, what they have given means, first we must integrate our academic plans. Each and every institution must integrate their academic plans, ranging from suppose curriculum they want to revise means first they should conduct some board of meeting and they come to know what are the required skills is necessity for students nowadays. That and all they have to consolidate and they have to integrate in their academic plans. Accordingly they have to proceed. That is what they have suggested. Then third one is that whatever we are revising, whatever the curriculum we are designing in coming days, that should be mapped to the global context. That is very, very important. So the main aim of this particular education policy is the education should be improvised according to the international standard. Okay, that is what global context they are insisting that whatever courses, whatever program, new programs in coming days we are going to introduce means that program should be mapped to the global context. That is what the new education policy is insisting that. Now, the next topic is they are given about innovative and responsive curriculum and pedagogy. Normally, assessment, they are focusing about the assessment here. They are talking about assessment. Assessment is very, very fast. They have talked about the particular curriculum designing, then teacher pedagogy improvement, then third one is assessment, third parameter. So here assessment shall be decided by the higher education institute only. This is also they are given the autonomy to the institution. Institution has to decide the assessment procedure about their students, and they have to incorporate all the particular factors to measure the skills of that particular students. That's what the committee is suggesting, that giving autonomy to the assessment system for the all higher education institution. Particularly nowadays, most of the institution across the country, we are following the choice-based credit system. But even though we are following the choice-based credit system nowadays, still there is some lacking. What they have told in this education policy, what they have suggested means this choice-based credit system should help to the students for their holistic development and their career development. That is what this committee is suggesting that. So what they have given suggestion means, first one is we have to improvise our internal system. Whatever internal system, it should be a continuous measuring method. Okay, continuous measurement. That is what continuously existing whatever is there. at the end of the semester, only we are conducting and we are measuring the progress. But it should not be like that. The internal system should be very much supportive to increase the skill of the students based on the continuous improvement. That's what here more continuous and comprehensive evaluation. They are saying that all the higher education institutions shall also move away from high stake examination towards more continuous. That is very important. So they are supporting the continuous and comprehensive evaluation instead of the examination point of only the end semester examination. That's what they suggested is, in our choice-based credit system, we are supposed to give some weightage for the club activities and whatever the interest the students is having, whatever that should be incorporated. Nowadays we are also having so many club activities. All the institutions, they are having club activities for the accreditation purpose and all. We are doing all the activities, but the thing is, it is not reflected in their academic marks card. But the committee is suggesting that we should measure the holistic development of the student in terms of academic plus their involved in other. But they are given here, all the higher education institutions should support the club activities organized by students and also some club activities related to the science, mathematics, poetry, language, literature, music and sports. These and all we have to give some credits in our academic progress, and we have to incorporate both that academic development and other their skills development. That is what they are saying, that innovative and responsive curriculum and pedagogy. Then they have suggested nowadays open distance learning mode is there. So many open universities are there across the country because mainly this policy is mainly one of the main objective of this particular policy is to increasing the gender equity ratio in education. Even still in India, we are lacking in this gender equity ratio in education point of view. So this policy is insisting that we have to encourage the gender equity enrollment ratio in the education, particularly in higher education. That for that, how it will be done means with the help of open distance learning. Some of the programs can be offered as an open distance learning, but at the same time, we have to make sure about the highest quality. It is on par equal to our regular program. That's what the committee is suggesting. That for that, this policy, what they told, we want to form a separate framework and accreditation framework for accreditation, regulation and systematic development for open distance learning mode. That's what so very soon we may expect the separate framework for the open distance learning mode for regulatory bodies and systematic development of open distance learning mode that will be improvised equivalent to the regular program to map the gender equity ratio, to increase the gender equity ratio. Then the next fourth factor they are talking about is internalization. That is a very, very important factor in this policy. The committee suggested that in new education policy, they want to improvise our educational system on par equal to the international standard. So for that, what they have suggested is they have given the suggestion to improvise the education and support the transfer of credits. Whatever students, even nowadays we are observing some of the universities, deemed universities, they are following the transfer credit options for their students. One semester they may study here, one semester they will go to abroad and they will study there. Those credit will be incorporated in here and they will accumulate and they will award the degree. So this new education policy is very much supportive for the internalization and global context. So they're supporting that to implement the transfer credits to carry out research at institution abroad and vice versa. Foreign person also, they can come here and do their research. We will support you to them also. So this is internalization. And apart from that, they are insisting that our education should attract the international student. Accordingly, we have to improvise our curriculum and pedagogy method. For that, they were given a lot of suggestions and instructions in this policy. So national students will come to India means automatically the cultural diversity and the knowledge exposure, everything will be increased. That is what the committee suggested. So the international student office at each higher education institution hosting foreign, that is every institution must have one international student office. In that, all the international students will be a part of that particular cell. They will host on behalf of the cell, they will host a lot of activities. They will attract and so many activities and attract the international students to the particular institution in our India, in our country. So this is what they have suggested. One suggestion they have given. Second one is MOUs, that is collaboration between Indian institution and foreign institution must be have a collaboration. Now they are insisting upon to make it mandatory. So research and teaching collaboration should be done with the high quality foreign institution. That's what they are given. Then at the meantime, they are encouraging sorry for the disturbance. Okay, so at the meantime, what happens? The high performing Indian universities will be encouraged to set up campus in other countries. Some of the whichever universities is performing well, the government will support that university, support that institution to open their off campus in other countries. For example, BITS Bilani we have nowadays in India. BITS Bilani campus in Dubai also we have Dubai campus. Similar way, but now we are having very rare institution, very rarely we are having, but the committee is suggesting that this new education policy suggested that to encourage all the Indian universities to perform well. Meanwhile, they can start their off campus in other countries, so that we can attract international students, we can have a good research exposure, innovation exposure, everything we will have, and we will improvise our teaching learning environment through these policies. Okay, that's what they are given. Vice versa also it will be. Some of the selected universities, abroad universities, those who are in top 100 across the world ranking, top 100 universities will be allowed to start their campus in our country. That is also they have opened a door for other international university to come and start their campus in our country. Very soon it may be implemented. Okay, according to this policy, we can expect many abroad university also in our country. The next one is a research collaboration. They have supported the research collaboration should be increased between Indian universities and foreign universities. Committee in their report, they have suggested that according to the statistical report and survey, the results that statistical results showing very less ratio. It wants to be improved, so that government has to take some initiatives to encourage the research collaboration and student exchanges between Indian institution and global institution with a special effort. They have suggested like that. Then one more point is credit acquired in foreign university will be permitted. Okay, for the award of degree in Indian institution. So that is also possible. Nowadays, only few deemed university they have the flexibility to implement that particular concept, credit transfer and credit acquirements. But now government is insisting that through this policy, all the higher education institutions should support the credits acquired in foreign universities, so that the collaboration will be automatically increased. The knowledge exposure and diversity of knowledge also will be increased. Then one more thing is counseling system. They have start. All the higher education institution must have the proper counseling system for handling the stress and emotional adjustment of the students. So they made it mandatory. So this is very, very important for all the higher education institution. Even schools also, they must have the counseling system. Apart from that, infrastructure, they've spoken about the infrastructure in the new education policies. All the common infrastructure should be improvised, particularly about medical facilities. They do. Separate healthcare cell should be there. It should be function for the 24 hours. We have to take care about that particular students and faculties, medical facilities. Then one more thing is financial perspective. New education policy, in this National Education Policy 2020, they have suggested that one idea that is called as National Scholarship Portal is there. That portal should be expanded and it should support, foster and track the progress of the students receiving scholarship. So that all the economically poor peoples and all those kind of students, it should support. So the committee suggested, according to the National Education Policy 2020, should form one national scholarship portal. It should be expanded and control all the scholarship. It should be in track also. It has to track every year how many students got benefited, what are the progress. Everything should be in monitored and regulated by this particular forum, National Scholarship Portal. The next topic is, it is in the chapter 14. They talked about the motivated, energized and capable faculty. In this policy, they have given more importance for the faculty and the teacher education. That is what we are going to discuss in next slides, coming slides. The faculty, even in some of the government institutions and all, faculty will be appointed and later they will be transferred from one place to another place, constitution, colleges and all. It's happening now. It's in practice now. But policy is suggesting that faculty will be appointed to individual institution only. They have to contribute more in that particular institution where they have appointed. So better, they suggested that to avoid the transfer between the constitution colleges or inside the government institutions and all. So this should be applicable for this particular new education policy. Then another one is recruitment. They have talked about the recruitment. The recruitment should be happen because faculty is very, very important for the efficient pedagogy, teaching pedagogical methods. So the faculty recruitment also, they have given a lot of instructions and suggestions how the transparency to be maintained and the recruiters, what are the things to be followed, how far they can recruit. Likewise, they have given a lot of reports in that. So recruitment also they have considered in a transparent basis, it has to be happen. Then another one is freedom to design their own curriculum and pedagogical approaches. Faculty itself has to design according to the subject, whatever subject we are taking. The faculty has to decide how to evaluate that students in that particular subject. What are the skills is required? What is the course outcome? What is the course objective? According to that, how to measure the skill development of that particular student. That should be designed. The autonomy should be given to the faculty to decide the particular even in terms of material selection, even in terms of assignment, even in terms of assessment. That's what the committee is suggesting. New education policy 2020, they've suggested to implement, to give the autonomy to the concerned faculty for the assessment, assignments, and material selection for their particular subject. Meanwhile, they've insisted that excellent faculties should be encouraged in terms of rewards, promotions, and recognitions. Fast track, they've talked about one scheme that is called as fast track promotion system. Those who are having faculties having high impact research and contribution in their career means that fast track promotion system should be in the role. With the help of that fast track promotion system, the institute has to decide and gives that rewards and recognition and leadership movement into the institutional leadership. Likewise, they have given some suggestion in this particular policy. The next main important parameter we are going to discuss now, that is research and innovation. Okay, so new national education policy, new policy 2020, they have given more importance to the research and innovation. That is what one of the very, very important significant feature which is present in this new education policy. Before giving the suggestions to improve the research and innovation, the committee has surveyed, it has done a lot of survey with the premier institution and with the medium level institution and with the tier 3 institutions. All together they made a survey and come to know that statistical report, research and innovation investment in India have not grown. Instead have steadily dropped over the last decade. For the past decade, it has been dropped. The investment in R&D, research and development, and research and innovation is dropped from, if you look at the survey here, 0.84% of GDP in 2008 for R&D investment. But in 2014, it has dropped down to 0.69%. So that is what the scenario happened. It is so unfortunate. Likewise, they've expressed their survey report in their policy. So according to the policy suggestions, what they have come out with the new solution means, this new education policy 2020, they have suggested the government of India has to frame one separate foundation that should be called as National Research Foundation. We call it as NRF. Very soon we are going to have this particular foundation in our country. The government will form this particular foundation, National Research Foundation. After forming the foundation, the government has to give every year nearly annual grant of rupees 20,000 crores. That is approximately 0.1% of GDP of our country. 20,000 crores it should be allotted to this particular foundation, National Research Foundation, to encourage the research and innovation from the faculty side and student side. That's what this separate foundation forum has to be formulated. It has to take care of it. Every year it will get 20,000 crore. That 20,000 crore will be given to the research and innovation purpose to all the private, public, and all the institution. And it has to improve that, but it has to take care of the improvement of research and innovation in our country. The primary objectives or the primary activities of NRF, they are given. I hope you are able to see the slide. If you see that, you can easily understand. The primary activities of this NRF is, it has to fund competitive peer-reviewed grant proposal. It has to call for proposal, review that proposal, and allocate the fund. Everything should be taken by this particular National Research Foundation. Then second one is, it has to give the facilitate research funding for academic institution, universities and colleges. Some of the universities and colleges such as poor, it's not that environment is not supportive, means it has to take some improve that particular result. Then third point, what they are given, this National Research Foundation should be a bridge or should fill the gap between researcher and relevant branches of government. For example, DRDO is there, ISRO is there, ICMR is there. So whatever research is going on there, whatever requirements they need in research and development, that should be known by the academic researcher or industrial researchers, so that they can come out with a fruitful research solution for fulfilling this particular gap. That is what the intention they are given. So in that point they are given, no, the research scholars are constantly made aware of the most urgent national research issues of the day. So this National Research Foundation role is, it has to fulfill that particular gap between the researcher and between the government bodies. That should be bridged together with the help of this National Research Foundation. Then meanwhile, one more fruitful information is the National Research Foundation, once some research is done and submitted, that report means successfully completed, that report means it should be in their track, because here afterwards the funding forum will be comes under one umbrella, so they can easily track whoever has completed the project, whoever not completed the project, whichever fund is unutilized, whichever fund is utilized, everything will be tracked and progress, and accordingly the next projects and awards and rewards should be particular researcher. Meanwhile, the committee also recorded one point that over there in policy. They are saying that unfortunately no organized mechanism exists to address these important matters in interrelated fashion. This is the word they've recorded in their policy. So far for monitoring and regulating that particular research is not satisfactory. So they've suggested this National Research Foundation to be taken care for improvising the research and innovation. That's what they have given. So very soon we will expect NRF activities. Then coming years we will hope we will receive a lot of funds for doing our research and innovations. Then next important thing is morning our principals are also spoke about this particular point, equity and inclusions in higher education. Our HOD also has shared few points about this particular equity and inclusion in higher education. So this is in chapter number 15 in the National Education Policy. Okay, what they have suggested in this particular policy means the main objective of this National Education Policy 2020 is one of the main objective is they want to improvise the gender equity enrollment ratio in education. Still some of the interior part of our country, still they have not aware about the higher education. Some particular level they will stop their education. Okay, so many financial problem, due to financial problem or due to awareness lacking, there are so many barriers are there. That barriers should be resolved. That is what this new education policy, National Education Policy 2020 is suggesting, that equity and inclusions in higher education. Some of the people, they have stopped their education till 10th or 11th, 12th. They have not think about the higher education. So that is what they have observed that, and they want to improvise the higher education opportunity to all the citizens over the country. So this policy they have designed one particular word they have noted, that socio-economically disadvantaged group. This is what we used to call it as SEDG in National Education Policy 2020. These people, this particular kind of people, we want to focus more, and we want to give the awareness to improvise their higher education opportunity. So that this policy insisted to some of the following issues must be addressed. One is lack of knowledge of higher education opportunity. Another one is economic opportunity. Another one is cost of pursuing higher education, financial constraints, admission process, geographical and language barriers, the poor employability. These are all the different barriers they came across. So Dr. Kasturi Rangan headed committee suggested that government has to take some regulations to overcome this particular problem and to increase the gender equity ratio, enrollment ratio in education. That's happened with the help of one following suggestion. Committee suggested that Kasturi Rangan committee, Dr. Kasturi Rangan committee suggested that to form the special economic zone, SEZ. Okay, special economic zone they have to form, and accordingly they have to focus more to the people, and they bring out the people to get education, higher education. That is what the objective they have suggested. Solution also they have given. Then finally, two more slides is that teacher education, because today's in my session I'm giving the brief overview about the optimal learning environment. So optimal learning environment is possible only because of curriculum revision. Another one is teaching pedagogy. If you want to give the teaching pedagogy should be efficient, means the teacher should be efficient. So the teacher should come out with a proper quality education. So for that committee, what they have suggested in this new education policy, they have introduced the new program that is called as 4-year B.Ed program. Okay, so far we don't have 4-year B.Ed program, but here afterwards, now once the policy government has implemented, means that should be 4-year B.Ed program. So it should be a multidisciplinary program. That is what they have suggested committee. So all the multidisciplinary universities and colleges, nowadays only the standalone teacher education institution, they used to conduct the B.Ed program. But in this new education policy, National Education Policy 2020, committee suggested that to any multidisciplinary university and colleges can start the B.Ed program with the collaboration of other departments, that is psychology, philosophy, sociology, neuroscience. So many departments will be there: history, geography, science, and mathematics. So that the teacher will learn that educational perspective, how to teaching pedagogy also they will learn. Meanwhile, they will learn about
ಕಳ್ಸೆ ಕುತ್ಕೋಣ ಅಂತ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ನಿನ್ ಜೊತೆ ಬಂದೇ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದೆ.
Hello, sir. Jagadish sir, can you? Hello. Okay. Fine. So all the multidisciplinary universities and colleges can start the B.Ed program. Okay, but it will be the 4-year integrated teacher preparation program. That degree we call it as 4-year B.Ed teacher preparation program. So it will be the multidisciplinary program. So what they are given target, they fixed. The committee suggested that in new education policy, all the standalone teacher education institution will convert into multidisciplinary institution by the end of 2030. So they have given some target also. So accordingly, here afterwards, all the multidisciplinary university also will get the opportunity to run the B.Ed program with the incorporation of some technical program like science, mathematics, and all. So it will be the 4-year integrated program. So that what will get means the teacher quality. The teacher quality will be improvised in schools and schools education. So automatically the pedagogy will be improved. Then automatically holistic development, holistic education will be reached to that particular students. Okay. So then one more thing is by 2030. The 4-year integrated B.Ed program will be the mandatory minimal degree for the qualification for school teacher. All the school teachers must have here afterwards 4-year integrated B.Ed. Okay. offered by multidisciplinary HES by the end of 2030. Then this 4-year integrated B.Ed also will have a dual major holistic bachelor degree. One is normally, as usual, they will have a teaching pedagogy, education related. Then another one is they should linked with another major is any subject, mathematics or computer science. One of the major subject they have to choose and they have to do that. That is what here they are given. Then apart from that, to maintain or to increase the quality of teachers, government, this new education policy suggested to the government to form the national testing, through national testing agency, they have to conduct the admission procedure. Okay, there should be some aptitude test conducted by the national testing agency. Based on that, they will give the admissions to the pre-service teacher preparation program, so that automatically the quality of teacher education will be improvised. These are the suggestions given by the committee in the new education policy. Then all the fresh PhD entrants, PhD scholars, those who are doing PhD should take one course as a teaching or education or pedagogy writing course along with their coursework. That will be make it as a mandatory in coming days. So all the fresh PhD entrants should take one credit, one course as a credit. It will be added as a credit. Okay, credit course in their mark sheet. Okay, so along with their coursework. Then they should have the PhD students, they must have a minimum number of hours for teaching experience as a teaching assistancy. That also they've insisted to improvise the teaching pedagogy and teaching method. So all the PhDs, those are fresh PhDs must have the minimum number of actual teaching experience. Okay, so that accordingly the PhD programs at all universities will be revised or will be reoriented for this particular purpose. Then they have insisted about to make use of the online portal like Swayam, Diksha. These are all the online portal, MOOC courses are there. The use of technology platform. All the teachers should make use of the technology and update themselves with the help of the Swayam courses and MOOC courses. So committee suggested that should be standardized training programs should be conducted or should be given the opportunity to attend those training through online with the help of technology. Then meanwhile, committee suggested to form one more thing is National Mission for Mentoring. Okay, all the retired outstanding academicians, all the retired outstanding achievers, they will be together. They will be together form one particular forum that is called as National Mission for Mentoring. They used to give the mentoring for the improvement of education and the research. That's what the committee suggested that in the new education policy to the government to form one national mission for mentoring with the inclusion of all the significant achievers and academicians, so that they can share their valuable thoughts to the particular region academicians. It will be helpful for them to get inputs, valid inputs, and it will be helpful for them to improvise their teaching pedagogy. This is the one more solution they have given. So I hope I've covered, still 5 minutes is there. So optimal learning environment, research and innovations and teacher education we have covered so far in this session. So tomorrow one more session is there that rest of the topics will be taken by tomorrow by Dr. Gurraj sir, and tomorrow morning it will be at 10:30. So I request all the faculties to attend tomorrow's session also, so that you can come out with a clear-cut understanding about the entire National Education Policy 2020. Being a teacher, being a student, being alumni or parents, we all must know about the new education policy because as a report, it contains nearly 484 pages. It's very difficult to read all the statements and come to know about all the highlighting feature. So that we have organized this particular webinar to expose the important highlighting significant features which are presenting in this particular National Education Policy 2020. I request audience, if you have any clarification or anything, if you want to clarify, please unmute your mic and you can ask. I'll try to clarify based on my knowledge according to this policy. Okay, is there any clarification by any faculties? Okay, fine.
So if any clarifications or any questions, can ask sir.
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
I'm Kotresh Patil from MBA department.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible.
Thank you, sir. Like, it's a great work since morning. Like, I've listened to the lecture of Dr. Meenakshi Sundaram and you, sir. It was very informative. Just like I wanted to know about, because the education policy of 1968 or 1986,
Okay.
that 1986 policy, they have revamped it in 2005. Whatever we have seen, major things, they already have mentioned over there in that 2005 policy. And the things like, the freedom of choosing a subject or coming up with a new subject, which can improve the students holistically, which already been inducted in the education policy, but that doesn't give any results.
Okay.
And moreover, this education policy of 2020 couldn't it's my knowledge again. I couldn't able to go through with complete document here, but as long as my understanding about various discussion, they were talking about poor infrastructure. It gives a complete picture about what need to be achieved in next 20 years. But when they talk about things like what is that? ECEE, ECCE, Early Childhood Care and Education. Again, see here, they thought of improvising, or they thought of improving children from the early stage itself. Again, the responsibility of that one will fall on the Anganwadi workers itself again. So here, they already have burden with a lot of things. Again, the programs like Pradhan Mantri, Matrushri Yojana, or Matrupurna Yojana, which think about improvising the students when it comes to the nutritional fact as well as the education. They already have doing that. And again, when we bombard the new things like ECCE kind of things, how will that improve their status as well as the status of the children? Because the biggest irony is the people who are about to change, or the people who are about to bring the new educational policies, they are the result of the old education policies, where we lack significant, we don't have a proper, maybe we might sort of proper way to do that. So how the government is addressing, there is a lack of clarity in that one, which I feel. And again, it talks about improving the gross enrollment again. As far as my knowledge, again, they haven't mentioned about how to improvise that enrollment rate from the beginning, because the biggest problem in our country is that especially in the grassroots level, retaining student itself is very difficult, especially girls. So they haven't mentioned about that one, and enabling a teacher to deliver this NEP imagined curriculum. Again, we have a significant technological infrastructure problem which we couldn't able to deliver. So ultimately, let me summarize everything here. What I meant to say is, sir, for example, like you mentioned, we need to improvise our education system to the global standards. Again, even though the government of India is giving eminent status to a lot of institutions in India, especially like IISc and IITs recently, but they lack criteria. On what criteria are we giving this eminent status? And like we also have welcomed the foreign universities in 2007 itself. Like even though we get to learn that 2020 education policy, which encourage the foreign universities to come down to India and to start their own curriculum. Again, this was already been done in 2007. Now universities like Yale, Cambridge, MIT, Stanford, Edinburgh, they have shown no interest at all. So what can be done in order to address these issues, sir? Like this is my
Yes, sir. Actually, you have talked about the 2005 and all now. Actually, the second national education policy was introduced in the year 1986. Afterwards, this is the third educational policy, 2020 only. In between, they made some changes. I agreed, whatever you are saying. They made some changes in that particular one. Suppose the research, they want to make changes, they want to make some autonomous body and all, they have done some changes. But the entire policy, they have not introduced in the year of 2005 and 6 and all. So after 1986, after 34 years gap, now only government has introduced the NEP education policy 2020. It's an entirely new policy because starting from the primary education to till the higher education, they have given all the solutions, suggestions and all. I agree that implementation problem is there, as you told. Already so many schemes are there. Again, they've added some scheme, means how do we cope up with that particular schemes? That is your question. So implementation difficulty is there. Even for government also it's there. For followers, we also it's there. So that they have given some targets till the 2030. They have given 10 years time. Within this 10 years time, slowly we have to make sure that slowly the government has to implement all those things. I believe that because from the school education onwards, if they made some changes, slowly it will accumulate and definitely we will come out within 10 years. We will come out with a good solution. That's what. Then one more thing is you told, no, international already some of the universities, Stanford universities and all, they are doing. So already in my presentation also I told, no, still some of the universities only, deemed universities only, they are doing voluntarily for transferring the credit and collaboration, twinning programs and all with other international institutions. But affiliated institution, affiliated colleges and some private how do we say, government aided institution, government colleges, that and all, still we have not done that. We are not in that up to that level. So that government, they are insisting here. In policy itself, they've insisted, means definitely government has to do some activities to improvise that particular action. That's what now we got the policy. In policy itself, they have defined it should be done like that. Internalization should be done like that. Global context should be improved. Likewise, they've given. So that we will be expecting the positive result. Definitely, we all together, being a teaching community, with the help of government schemes, definitely we hope, we will believe, and we will do the improvement for our society. I believe. So, but it will take time. But it will take time. I agree that.
Okay, sir. Sir, like one more thing, if you don't mind. Sir, here, when it comes to the policy making with respect to the education, especially, this is the kind of subject which falls under the concurrent list again here. Because even the center clearly mentioned that, education is a kind of subject like where we have to sit and discuss with the state government. According to the 1986 policies, even though with respect to that particular education policy, every state government has to follow 3 language system. But Tamil Nadu right away declined that, and they said we're not okay with 3 language system. We are okay with 2 language system. But
Okay.
it's again it's a point of discussion here, because the government has to give a clarity about what kind of, whether they are the one who govern the rules here, whether they are the one who going to set the rules based on the standards of standards. Again, they have to decide the standards. Yet there is no clarity, because like we keep on talking about, we have to rise to the global standards, we have to improve our college to the global standards. What are those standards? What are those parameters? They have to be specifically mentioned that, and they have failed to do so.
It's there, sir. Actually, it's there. If you go through that report, they have given some suggestions, because policy will be like general only. So
Okay.
apart from that, while implementing only, government will give step-by-step procedure how to implement that policy in ground level action. So
Okay.
policy will be like that only. But they have committee, Kasturi Rangan committee, they have given a lot of suggestions how to improvise. Okay, according to, because they have studied about the foreign education system also. They have compared so many foreign education system. They have made a survey, and they came out with some suggestions according to the Indian scenario, Indian historical evolution scenario. They mapped with that and they have suggested, but it will take some time. That's what. All of the sudden we will not reach. That I will agree. All of the sudden within 1 year, 2 years, it will not be.
No, it's the long run, sir. Like, I do agree with that.
So that they are given some deadline. Let us see that. Let us see that. We will. We all together will cooperate.
Again, like, do we like again here the state will act as an independent body, or like we sit with the government and the central government again?
Which
we have
one?
the frame.
Which one?
When it comes to the national education policies, again, when it comes to the education, it falls under the concurrent list. Again, like railways, like it is controlled by the central government. Like there are some areas in the government where the central government and
That's what here in schools also. Morning, our principal sir presentation, he told they have given some regulations for CBSE schools and all. Those who comes under direct central government, there will be a separate body to control. Private school and public school comes under state government. Their central government will give some regulation. State government will implement, and it will make sure that.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Two separate frameworks will be there, because morning in our principal presentation he told the frameworks between central government schools, central accredited school, and state that will be there, sir. If you go through the policy, we can.
Sure, sir. Like almost done. So last question. The last question I'll run it up. The thing is, it's like how it gonna benefit. So, for example, I want to study physics. Like, if I am allowed to take music, it's again my personal question. Like,
Okay.
How will that? It's a kind of, because like we are into academia, we have to discuss about the implication of this education policy rather than like how, I don't know, like how it will benefit.
You are asking about interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
That is because it was successful. It was successful for in the foreign countries, sir. Actually, even nowadays in USA and all, they have given an engineering degree like that. The mechanical engineer can choose 1 year they can study the mechanical subject, 1 year they can opt for a computers related subject. So as the outcome, they've surveyed that it was a nice one. So the skill development was there. According to that only, committee has recommended that, because nowadays even IT companies require mechanical engineer for doing some project. By a biotechnology company need some other department engineers. So interdisciplinary is very much required. According to that standard, they have suggested.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, any other questions from the participants? Okay, if no further questions, we will wind up this session over here. Thanking Dr. Raviraj P. For providing us with a wonderful session on making us aware of the innovative approaches that are opted in generating the learning environments, like improving the quality of the teachers and enhancing the research initiatives and providing research opportunities from the foreign universities, and highlighting all those aspects in his 1 hour presentation. And I thank Kotesh Patil for the valuable questions, and also Raviraj sir for providing answers to those questions. And as far as let me put that there was one query from Kotesh regarding regulations and governing bodies who take care, whether it's centralized government or the state government. So there are some regulation bodies which will in the next session tomorrow I'll be addressing about. And thank you, Raviraj sir, for the wonderful session. And thank you all the participants for being active and being participating in this webinar for first day. And tomorrow we have one more session at 11 o'clock on as we belong to the engineering institute, which is the professional education institute. We need to know more about what this NEP 2020 concentrates with respect to the professional education and higher education, as well as the leadership aspects with respect to the higher education institutes, and what are the places that are defined to the higher education institutes for going further ahead and improve the quality of the institutes. All those aspects will be dealt in the tomorrow's session, which deals with professional education and leadership for higher education institutes at 11 o'clock tomorrow by myself. And thank you for participating, and hope to see you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Thank you everyone for participating.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for all the participants. Thank you to one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.